A good Wednesday morning to you, and thanks so much for tuning in to the Weather Channel as we check out Storm Watch. And this edition of Storm Watch is sponsored by Rayovac. Well, holiday travelers may have a tough time today as we're watching a minor storm system working its way across the nation's midsection. But then a very, very powerful and very dangerous storm system continues to batter the Pacific Northwest with very heavy precipitation and some fierce winds. Right now, though, we do see our front marching its way across the Mississippi Valley, and it's been spreading a few clouds. Luckily, though, it's been very starved for moisture, and hence precipitation has been very light. Just a few spotty showers, and that's basically just about it. I'll tell you what, though, as you head towards the Pacific Northwest, the weather really steadily goes downhill. We've had some very heavy soaking rains along coastal sections, a steady onshore flow, and some very strong winds, too. In fact, right now, winds right along the Oregon shoreline have been approaching hurricane force and beyond. In fact, around Netarts, around the Tillamook County area, we had some wind gusts earlier this morning up to 86 miles an hour. So a tremendously strong onshore flow just slamming into the Pacific Northwest, very strong winds, and again, very heavy rainfall as well. Actually, this next storm system that's hammering the Pacific Northwest has been one in a series of storm systems coming into the area. It all started back last Wednesday or Thursday when these storms started to pick up in intensity across the Pacific Northwest. And over the past several days, we've had some locales in the Northwest pushing close to 12 inches of rain. We've also had some heavy downpours, too, in Northern California, like Arcata, nearly 10 inches of rain since Thursday. Well, more of the same as the rain continues to come down nonstop. Very heavy rain around the Olympic Peninsula. Some soaking rains, too, for Seattle, Tacoma, and Olympia, Washington. The rain down through Portland. More rain along Interstate 5 all the way down through Brookings, Oregon, and extending southward towards Del Norte and Humboldt counties in Northern California. And again, because we've had so much rain, the ground is very, very saturated. Rivers and streams are quite swollen. So please be on the lookout for some localized flooding problems across the Pacific Northwest. Again, the rain continues to just feed in across the area. But aside from that, too, we've also had some major headaches with the wind. And you can really see that by looking at the surface map. We have high pressure across central California, our powerful storm system coming in just to the north of that. So in between the two, a very tight pressure gradient, a steady onshore flow, and throughout the course of the afternoon, it may not be uncommon to see wind gusts over 50 miles an hour along the coast. And as I was mentioning, at least earlier this morning, we had some hurricane force winds raking the coastline of Oregon. Now again, because of the strong winds coming in across the Pacific Northwest, gale and storm warnings have been posted from Cape Flattery and Point Roberts and extending southward towards Cape Mendocino. Along with that, heavy surf advisories too in effect for most of the west coast. So mariners, be extremely cautious. We have some dangerous seas building just off the coast. Seas could be pushing close to 25 feet in some locations. So definitely some choppy waters and rough conditions across the Pacific Northwest. Now higher up in the mountains, we're talking about a heavy snow event. Snow advisories remain in effect for the Cascades, the Siskiyous, and the Olympic ranges. Higher peaks today could be looking at 6 to 12 inches worth of snowfall. And at least initially, we'll watch snow levels staying rather high, but as the cold front blasts through the area, snow levels will be lowering quite a bit come tonight. So here's the current weather map, just a weak system cruising across the Mississippi Valley, and a very pronounced storm system, though, hammering the Pacific Northwest. And with that, the heavy rain and the heavy snow, too, inundating the Pacific Northwest. Now, aside from that, we also have some activity, too, in the tropics, believe it or not. Even though it is rather late in the season, this little swirl of clouds right there in the Atlantic, that is Tropical Storm Nicole. Here's the latest that we have on this tropical storm. Right now, it's packing winds of 70 miles per hour, and it's located well to the west of the Canary Islands. The good news, right now, it's not affecting any land areas, and we're really not expecting it to affect any land areas either. So again, a tropical storm just turning aimlessly out across the Atlantic. Here's a weather map for later on today, and holiday travelers may have a tough time over portions of the Ohio Valley. Right now, this storm system is very starved for moisture, but as we continue through the afternoon, it will start to pull up more and more moisture from the Gulf. We'll have some rains flaring up around Detroit and Cleveland, and some scattered rains, too, down towards the Tennessee Valley. But again, the big story, the powerhouse of the storm system for the West, we'll have more details about that coming up next.
Sunshine graces the Northeast, but will it last through Turkey Day? A look at conditions there and across the nation is next on Weather Center after your local forecast.
This program was sponsored by Rayovac Rechargeable Alkaline.
Video games don't just blast through your batteries.
More batteries!
They blast through your money. That's why you should arm yours with Rayovac Maximum Alkaline. They pack long-lasting alkaline power but cost less, so you can buy more games.
How about a little one-on-one?
Uh-oh.
Get the Maximum. Rayovac Maximum.
Everybody has suffered from the effects of a bad night's sleep, whether from minor back pain, heartburn, or just because you can't get comfortable.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us for Storm Watch. I'm meteorologist Mark Mancuso. Most of the travel problems continue to be in the Pacific Northwest, where once again we have seen heavy rains and heavy snows in the Cascades of Washington and high winds down to the coast of Oregon. As we take a look at our weather map for you, there you can see another front in the Pacific Northwest, and it has really been blowing south of that front on the south central Oregon coast. High wind warnings continue in through here, and now the winds really starting to kick in off the Rockies around Livingston, Montana, winds gusting over 60 miles per hour. In the higher terrain above 3,000 and 4,000 feet, we do see snow snowing at Sherman Pass here, and it continues to snow in the North Cascade mountain passes. South of Snoqualmie, we are looking at rain. It's rain up to White Pass, and Snoqualmie, last time I checked, had snow on the report there, but I checked the camera out. It looked like the road wasn't too terribly bad. It looked like it had been cleared up. And in Oregon, snow's above pass levels today. Yesterday it was like a blizzard. Today things much quieter at Santiam Pass. All cleared out with the rain. Frontal zone trying to sneak up some Gulf moisture as it moves its way into the Midwest. A fairly healthy chunk of energy in through here, and as this interacts with that moisture, showers and thunderstorms will be developing today from Michigan southward down to Tennessee. And checking the lightning data out in the last hour, I saw a couple of lightning hits here in southeast Missouri. So there's a lot of lift coming in through here, so what we're lacking is moisture, not a lot of it. So it all depends on the movement of this front. But right now it looks like this front will be moving too fast to the east today to really interact with that moisture. But areas closer to the moisture source and closest to the lifting, say from extreme southern Ohio down through Kentucky and Tennessee, and maybe as far south as extreme northern Alabama, North Georgia, these will be the areas that will have the best chance for thunderstorms this afternoon into tonight. And it'll be a narrow line of thunderstorms at that. As this energy, though, moves to the east coast tomorrow, we are looking for low pressure to develop around South Jersey here. That'll head its way northeastward and in an intensifying mode. So it looks like a rotten day from New York up to Boston here with cold rain, gusty winds, and then to the north in the mountains there'll be snows. But that's where you want the snow, in ski country. In the northwest, notice the front just kind of eases its way southward, so that means heavy rains and stronger winds coming into northern California, while the heavier rains taper off in western Washington and northwest Oregon, where you are getting hammered today. Had a lot of reports in from the spotters here of about 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches of rain in the past 24 hours. And here you look at this, see? I've seen a narrow little line of showers and thunder showers trying to develop. Now as we look to the west, there it is, the big storm, the mother storms here in the Gulf of Alaska right there. Spinning around it though, you see cold, unstable air. Here's your moist jet stream coming right up into the northwest. See where it's pointed? Right here, western Washington, extreme northwest Oregon. So that's why you see all that heavy rain in through here. Here again, you can see the jet here, and you can see a disturbance along the jet stream. And as this rolls its way eastward, that's eventually going to push the rain area a little farther southward. But in the higher terrain, we'll be looking at heavy snows. Snow levels up above the passes here in Oregon, up above 6,000 feet today. And then as we get you into Washington, 4,000 to 3,000 feet. Snows in northeast mountains here. We should have a little snow in there. And then through northern Idaho, snow levels running at about 3,000 to 4,000 feet. More closer to 4. As we take you to the coast, boy, rough conditions here. Winds, waves, seas at 30 to 35 feet coming into the coast of Oregon. Big winds in the northwest, as we told you. Here are your wind gusts. There you can see Livingston gusting over 50 miles per hour. And around North Bend, 46-mile-an-hour winds. And as you look at some of the amounts, whoa, boy, look at those wind gusts. Cape Blanco, 95 miles an hour last night. Warm winds coming down off the Rockies. Some record heat yesterday where temperatures were way above average. That mild air is spreading into the Midwest today, and you can see the isotherms reflecting that. Temperatures are looking pretty mild across most of the nation today. As we take it to the tropics in the Atlantic here, way out to sea, this is Tropical Storm Nicole. Nice visible shot that we have for you. Shows you the system. Let's take a look at that visible if we could. There it is. There's Nicole, and it has winds of 60 miles an hour now, and it continues to move off to the west-southwest.
Next on Weather Center, an update on storms in the Pacific Northwest. Plus, from one of the busiest airports in the U.S., a special holiday edition of TravelWise. Do you have trouble driving in the rain? Is the glare unbearable at night? That's why STP created Vision Blade glass treatment. Vision Blade forms an invisible barrier that repels water and virtually eliminates glare. It applies in minutes, and it lasts for 6 months. This muddy water sticks to the glass on the untreated side. But with Vision Blade, the dirt and grime sheets away, and your view remains clear. And now Vision Blade is available in 2 sizes to meet all drivers' needs. See what you've been missing with Vision Blade.
Teddy Gibbs can't let a sore throat stop him, even when it feels this raw. He toughs it out through the hacking cough, the aches, the fever. But when the job is done, he's...
Well, we've got ourselves another massive storm going on the Pacific Ocean, the Gulf of Alaska, and the peripheral effects are some tremendous winds on the Oregon coastline. If you remember that storm we had 2 or 3 nights ago, the winds extended all the way from off the Washington coast down to Nevada, where winds were over 100 miles an hour. Now, the focus since last night has been on the Oregon coastline, and even that is almost 1,000 miles from the center of this low, which is really winding up in the Gulf of Alaska. Cannon Beach, though, northern Oregon coast, 111 miles an hour early this morning, as Cape Blanco's 98 was in Sexton Summit in Oregon on Interstate 5. But Netart's has been hitting 80, and then 90, and then 98 miles an hour, and then recently 106 miles an hour in Tillamook County, Oregon. So we have a real, almost low-level jet stream of air coming in right along a cool front off the Pacific Ocean that's really raking the coastline and causing some damage to some roofs or some doors blown off of a building in a mall recently on the Oregon coast in just the last hour. So that's a bit dangerous for shoppers. We have a lot of isobars from the west coast all the way into the Montana Rockies. We're getting Chinook winds there, as you're liable to get 50 to at times 70 mile an hour winds, and snow in the mountains. But just as terrible as it is here, you're getting a great stretch of weather from Southern California through the desert southwest. But not so in the northwest, as low pressure winds up off the coast. Now, the marine interests really need to just take it easy and be real cautious, because we have storm warnings, Florence, Oregon to Point St. George for over 55 mile an hour winds, and again, it's going over hurricane force at times. Straits of Juan de Fuca, Puget Sound, California coastline, gale warnings have been displayed. So marine interest, extra caution. And if you're wandering along the coastline, maybe in Southern Cal you might want to go in. Well, heavy surf advisories there. Too cold to go into the north, but just curiosity seekers, heavy surf advisories. Over 20-foot waves offshore. Could be a danger to be standing right on that shoreline on the holiday. And also from tonight through Thanksgiving, we've got the flash flood watches from the Oregon state line through California. The places that got 4 or 5 inches of rain just the other day now could get a little excessive runoff out of this storm too. The wind's over 50 miles an hour if you're driving along the 101 in Oregon and Washington, right along the coast, and even the 5 at times. Cascade Passes, Snoqualmie, Sexton Summit, and back on down through 84 in the Blue Mountains. Some snow mixed with wind. That's a double whammy. Drive with extra care. Also 15 and 94 in Montana, and 25, Interstate 25 in Wyoming. You're liable to get 52, again, up to 70 mile an hour winds. Our low pressure spinning in the Gulf of Alaska, as you can see, this has got to be a good 1,000 miles away from Seattle, but the strongest winds extend way out and really plowing on into the coastline. You can see the speed that these clouds are moving at. We have all the clouds piled up against the coastal ranges, Willamette Valley, Puget Sound, and Cascades, actually west of the Cascades in Oregon. Then a descending motion dries it out and the sun comes out. Then an ascending motion up the Rockies gives you more precipitation in the form of snow. We've seen some snows of 6 inches or more in northern Idaho, and back on into even a foot up at 49 North Ski Area, and back into Glacier Park, which must be a winter wonderland this time of the year. The rain through the Puget Sound, or the Willamette Valley to a degree, then it dries out. But this is where all the winds have been coming in, not necessarily with heavy rain, but along a frontal system. So look for 6 to 12 inches more of snow in the Cascades, a little less in the Rockies. But there are other spots of trouble around the nation, travel trouble spots you could say, in the Midwest with a front coming through Indiana and the Chicago area. Still mild for this time of the year, and not a whole lot of cold air behind that cold front, although it is a cold front technically, but our rain is on the map. The precipitation coming through Michigan. Watch out Detroit in the next hour or so. You've got some showers that'll get heavy. Could be thunder. You have had thunder near Indianapolis and south of Terre Haute, and maybe some gusty winds with that. Well, interestingly enough, we have a tropical storm in the far east Atlantic. It's Nicole, down to 50 miles an hour. It was 60, but it's moving west-southwestward. Now, the thing with Nicole is we have a lot of southwesterly winds, which are providing wind shear, so we don't expect it to increase in intensity, nor do we expect it to head toward the western North American area. It'll probably head on toward Europe and weaken with time.
Rain and wind seem to be the prevailing theme in the Pacific Northwest. Details plus as folks head out for the holiday. A look at conditions nationwide just ahead on Weather Center.
Out here, I'm in command. So am I supposed to say, slow down, guys, I'm constipated? I don't think so. You try to eat right. Sometimes you can't. Harsh chemical laxatives, they can kick in whenever and wherever. Not an option. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. It's got 100% natural fiber. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
Metamucil, the doctor's natural choice for regularity.
Nasty storm. Wet road. Looks pretty bad, huh? No problem.
Okay, now we're going to test how the AVW